Hi, I'm Michael McGonigal, and in this course I'm going to describe how to create bookmarked PDF files for your next virtual site survey. Before I begin, I would like to give you a disclaimer, and that is that this material is my own opinion and my own techniques, and your verifying agency or your designating agency may have their own requirements for what types of documents you need and what formats, and so obviously those will always supersede anything that I say here. I'm going to cover the overall structure that's requested by the American College of Surgeons, but it should apply to other states as well. The American College of Surgeons requests that the documents prepared for your virtual site visit fit into 8 or 9 categories, and it's a difference based on whether or not research is included. Now here's a copy of the current documentation requirements. This one shows page 1. This is the administrative category. It has 13 to 14 items that are included in it. But wait, there's more. This was just the first category. There are actually up to 9 different categories with multiple items in each. So you have to assemble all of that stuff plus 25 patient charts for review. Now there is one simple yet unfortunately kind of bad way to do it, and that is just creating a bunch of individual PDF files. So if you do that, here's what the file directory would look like. So you can see that there are 2 different folders at the very top, numbers 1 and 2, which are the chart reviews for the 2 reviewers, and then there are folders that have the documents for each of the sections that I showed you on those previous sheets. Now each one of those directories will contain either PDF files or more subdirectories of PDF files. So let's double click into the lead reviewer's chart folder. And as you can see, there are subdirectories for each patient record. In this example, there are 10 charts here, and they are listed by PI category. If we double click into the first chart, there are 12 more individual PDF files, one for each piece of the chart. That's a lot of files. So why is this a problem? It makes it very difficult for the reviewers to navigate, and this is especially true for the chart reviews. If a patient chart has 12 sections, which means 12 PDF files, and the reviewer has to open each one individually, here's what their screen looks like. It's a total mess. So what is the best way to prepare the documents? Well, the answer is a bookmarked PDF file. OneNote, which is a Microsoft product, has also been used for this, and it is a very convenient way of kind of cross-referencing different tabs that contain the various pieces of a chart or various parts of the administrative or research or whatever documentation that you need. However, it is a Microsoft product. Your hospital would have to have a license for that from Microsoft. And depending on the software versions and the computers that the reviewers are using it on, some may or may not be able to open your files. Let's talk about bookmarked PDFs, because in my opinion that's the best way to go. This is one PDF file that contains each of the required sections, whatever those may be. All pages from several individual files are listed in order, and the beauty of it is that they are indexed so that the reviewers can select a bookmark and be taken directly to that section of the document. What does a collection of bookmarked PDF files look like? Well, let's open File Explorer again and look at the directory structure you would see if you used bookmarked PDF files. Here's the main directory. What does a collection of bookmarked PDF files look like? Let's open File Explorer again and look at the directory structure you would see if you used bookmarked PDF files. Here's the main directory. Note that there are only 2 subdirectories, one for each reviewer's charts. In the main directory here, there's just one PDF for each required document group that I showed you on that very first list. Let's double-click the top directory. Here's the list of charts for the lead reviewer, one in each category. Now once again, you can see all of the charts that they selected, but each one is a PDF, not another subdirectory full of additional PDF components. When you double click to open the first chart in the list, the PDF viewer opens and you get this. Notice the nice list of sections on the left. These are the bookmarks. On the right are all the pages of the combined files in sequential order. So the reviewers can easily jump around the file by clicking various bookmarks. And once they get to a particular section of the file, they can then scroll sequentially through the pages there in order. How do you do it? How do you create one of these? Well, everybody has some kind of Acrobat reader so that everyone can read PDF files. But in order to pull this off, you will need to have an Acrobat file editor. There are a number of different flavors of this. There are standalone Adobe Acrobat programs like Adobe Acrobat Standard or Pro. There are subscription models like Adobe Acrobat DC. Unfortunately, these are more expensive because it's a recurring monthly subscription model. Now, the good news is that most likely someone at your hospital actually has one of these pieces of software and you should be able to use it. If not, there are some low-cost or free software packages available, and probably the best one that I've seen, if you want to go the no-cost route, is a product called PDF Merge. This is free open source software. It is absolutely safe to download. It's on a site called sourceforge.net, which is a repository for open source software, and I've put the URL for this product on the screen, and I'll also display it later when I'm taking you through how to use it. I'll now show you how to create a bookmarked PDF using an older standalone version of Acrobat Pro. Once I've done that, I'll show it to you again with the newer Acrobat DC version. And don't worry if you don't have these exact versions. If your hospital has a different one, the concepts are really the same. The menus may appear to be a little bit different. And then finally, after I go through the two Adobe products, I'll demonstrate the free PDF Merge software product as well. First, assemble the component files that will go into the bigger PDF in a single subdirectory on your computer. Now you will need to print or scan each one of these components to a PDF file in that subdirectory. You'll need to set your default printer as the PDF printer. It can't be one of the laser printers that are sitting around in your office area. Now here's a look at the administrative folder that can have multiple components. This is what it typically looks like after you've printed all of the individual documents to PDF files that will go into it. So as you can see here, all of the required pieces, and there are 11 of them in this particular case, are in there and named by what they include. There's just one problem. Windows and the Mac operating system like to alphabetize file names. You don't have any control over the order of the files that get combined into the new bookmarked PDF file or the bookmark names that are associated with them. That may not seem like such a big deal here, but it's a major problem when it comes to the patient charts. To avoid this, you need to add one little thing if you want to have control of the order: a number at the beginning of the file name. Now, if you have less than 10 pieces that are going to be combined, you can use a single digit. But when you're dealing with charts, you may have 12, 13, or more pieces, and so a 2-digit number is probably the best way to go. On the left side, you see all of the components that are going to go into that PDF file, but they're listed alphabetically. If we add the 2-digit number in front of it in the order that we want, now they're alphabetized correctly. And when you create your PDF file, they will go into it in that order, and the bookmarks will be exactly what you see there. Once you've created a PDF for all of the individual printouts or scans that belong in the document, and they're numbered in the order you want, you're ready to create the bookmarked PDF file. Now I'll do this with an older standalone version of Acrobat Pro first. This is Adobe Acrobat 11 Professional. It's a much older version of the software, but it has the same functionality as all of the newer versions. When the program opens, it will display some commonly used tasks that you can do. And one of them is combine files into PDF. And so if you click that, it will bring up a window that allows you to combine the specific files. Now there are three ways to do this actually. You can click the combine files into PDF here. You can go up to the toolbar and pick combine files into a single PDF. It brings up the same window. And then finally, in the File menu, it also has a Create feature, which brings up that same menu, combine files into a single PDF. It doesn't really matter which way you open it, the result is the same. Now you need to select the files that you want to combine. So in this particular case, we have already created and printed a bunch of components that will go into the administrative file. And if you look at this File Explorer window that I have open here, it's got all of the items that are going to go into the administrative folder, and they are all numbered so that they are alphabetized in the way that we want them to show up. In order to select these, there are two ways to do it, of course. You can either type Control-A, select all of those, and then drag and drop them onto this box. Alternatively, you can just select Add Files here. It will bring up another Explorer window where you can do the same thing. You can either Control-A to select them all, or you can click the first, Shift-click the last. As long as they're all selected, click Open, and you'll see them go flying into the Combine Files box. You want to actually combine the files. You must click the button. Once you've done that, it processes them all, and then it is done. Now you might say, well, where are the bookmarks? You have to click the little bookmark feature here, and it will show you all of the sections, all in bookmarked format. So I can skip now to individual sections of it, or I can use the scroll bar or scroll wheel of my mouse to move through them as well. The last thing that we need to do is to save this into a location of our choice. By default, Acrobat gives it a name binder1.pdf. That's not really what we need, and it may not be going to the place we really want it to. So click File, Save As. We're going to put it in our finished PDF files folder. We should give it a better name than binder1, so we'll just call it administrative. And there it goes. So now you can see in our finished PDF files folder, there's administrative. So that's it for this old version of Adobe Acrobat. Now let's do this again with the newest version of Acrobat, and this is Adobe Acrobat Pro DC. The program has been opened, and now we are currently on the Tools menu, and this is where it shows you all of the various tools available within Acrobat Pro DC. Once again, we will want to combine files. You just click that, and similar to the older version, you have different ways of adding the files. You can pull it down here, select Add Files. You can drag and drop to this entire box. You can click the Add Files here. So we'll do a drag and drop again. So we'll select all of the ones in our source directory, and remember, these are the 13 components that are going to be going into the administrative PDF file. So I'll drag these over. It quickly processes them, and then we're ready to combine. Once they're combined, you'll see that we've created a new binder. This one is called Binder 2. Let's look at the bookmarks. Here they all are. So everything is working as it should. And then the final thing to do, once again, is to save your binder as administrative. And we are going to put those in our finished files. It's already selected here. And we'll call it administrative. And now you'll see it appear over here in our finished files folder, and these are ready to be uploaded to the file sharing service. Finally, let's do this with PDF Merge. Now this software is really bare bones compared to Adobe Acrobat products. This only merges or splits PDF files. It does nothing else. And so this is kind of a last resort if you can't get your hands on Adobe Acrobat. This is the interface. This is the file combine area. This is the Save To file name, and I've already selected this. I've already pre-populated it, but if you need to change it, you just hit the little ... navigate your way to the appropriate directory, give it a name, and then save it. And so it will be ultimately saved as this particular file. So let's get the files out into this area. So once again, I'm using a File Explorer window, and I could do this using the little icons here. But what I'm going to do is to click and drag, and you'll notice that all of these have come across. And one key thing with this piece of software I've found is that sometimes the order that you have them in your directory is not exactly the same order that they come into here. If that occurs, then what you'll need to do is to use these little positioning arrows to move it. So this line is selected. Let's say that I wanted this line to be on top, so I would select that line, click this, and it moves it up to the top. I don't really want that, so I'll put it back. Once all of the files are there in the order that I want, the key thing is now I need to tell it to give it bookmark names. Under the Tools menu, copy all file names to bookmarks. Adobe Acrobat does this automatically, but in this software you have the option of calling them whatever you want. Well, we've already gone through the effort of naming the individual files what we want. So I click the copy, and you'll notice that the names have automatically been placed as the bookmarks, and now all we need to do is merge, and you'll see that it appeared here in my finished files directory as the administrative file. And I'll bring this up, and once again you can nicely see that everything worked as it should. Once you've done this with your first file, you can repeat it for each of the program assessment documents, which are those 8 or 9 collections listed in Appendix 1, the virtual visit documentation requirements, and then do exactly the same thing with each of the 25 charts requested in the patient chart review spreadsheet. So, to recap, print each section to a PDF file. Make sure you add the 2-digit number to set the order that it's going to be listed. You can do this during the printing process when it asks you for the file name. You can also rename the file afterwards, just in case you forget. Combine those individual PDFs into one bigger one with bookmarks using the techniques that I previously demonstrated. Once you've accomplished all that, upload the files to your file sharing service, the one that's been approved by your hospital IT department. The easiest directory structure to use looks kind of like this one. You can see that there are 2 subdirectories, one for each of the reviewer's charts, and those charts will be individual bookmark PDFs, and there will be 12 or 13 in each of those subdirectories for a total of 25. And then there are the remaining documents, or I should say document collections that are here that are bookmark PDFs for all of the requested items in Appendix 1. Once you finish your first one, upload it to your file sharing service and open it yourself. Be sure to use the Open in Browser feature that your sharing service provides so that you can see how it's going to look in the browser. You may not see the bookmarks right off the bat. If you do not see them, then look at the top left, top right areas of the browser window, because usually there are some little icons there that you can click that will display all of the bookmarks. Share the first uploaded chart review with your lead reviewer well in advance of the visit. That way they can make sure that they're able to open the file, see the bookmarks, and ensure that it is in the right format. That way you don't have to waste time redoing everything if this isn't done until the last minute. The next tip, make sure that all of the pages are properly oriented. Sometimes when things are scanned, they will be rotated by 90 degrees, and it's extremely difficult for the reviewers to look at those. So be sure to rotate them so that they are properly oriented before you finalize that chart. When you are assembling the sections for one of the chart reviews, you can combine multiple printed files into an individual bookmarked section. And what do I mean by that? Let's say that you are assembling the consult tab, the consult file. You have 3 different consults for a patient. One's from neurosurgery, one's from orthopedics, and the final one is from the hospitalist. So first, print each one of them from your electronic medical record to the PDF printer and name them appropriately. Ortho consult, neurosurgery consult, hospitalist consult. Now, combine them into a single bookmarked PDF called consults. Now, it will have 3 bookmarks in it. When you combine that with all of the other bookmarks that go into the full chart, all of the other PDF files that go into the full chart, then everything will be bookmarked, and the consults bookmark will have subsections that they can open up to actually go to each individual consult. Hopefully this short lesson has been very helpful. Please check out some of the other courses available here on traumameded.com. You may find a number of them helpful preparing for your virtual site review. Thank you.